Yo guys, what is up? It's Teach here, coming at you again with another video over on Ragnarok and Ark Survival Ascended. And in this video, I am going to show you pretty much the ultimate resources guide, telling you every location of every important and the best way to get resources on the Aberration, or not the Aberration, on the Ragnarok map. Now, I love Aberration, but honestly, Ragnarok is everyone's favorite because it has a special place in my heart because everyone played this map for such a long time with ASE, and it's just a massive map with everything that anyone could ever want. They even added a aberration zone to this, which is why I keep saying aberration. But let's go ahead and get started on this actual kind of resources guide. I'm gonna try and go in alphabetical order to try and do my best, but we'll kind of go from there. So we're gonna go ahead and start on this list with finding berries, which can be found pretty much anywhere. But again, like I said in the actual beginning, I'm gonna try and show you all resources, so alphabetical. So if you're kind of trying to skip for specific resources, kind of aim for that point in the video. So berries, the best place to harvest them is honestly over where I am right now, or in caves. Caves are all over the frickin' place on this map. And out in this green pasture is a great place to harvest a ton of berries. The more flowers that you can see like this right here, they are all really easy and quick to access a bunch of berries. So I'm not going to go super in depth on that one. Now, next up on our list is actually typically found together. That is black pearls and biotoxin. I'm going to show you two areas that you can find both black pearls and biotoxin because they kind of typically go together. But the easiest place to get black pearls is to go into Vikings Bay, and inside of Vikings Bay, and again, for those of you that are like, where's the cords, Teach? Look in the upper left corner of my screen and you will see the cords constantly on display for you. So black pearls, if you go into Vikings Bay, you will go to the exact point that I'm about to be at. Locate the ship that is under the water right there. Once you find the ship, you will find quick and easy access to black pearls. Boom, check that out right there. Now, as long as we're here, I'm also going to show you, I noticed that I don't do it in alphabetical order, there is a silica pearl cave right next to this. Now, this silica pearl cave has about, I don't know, 100,000 silica nodes in it. It's crazy. And it goes for half the map. This right here is commonly referred to as silica cave or pearl cave. And basically it is right there on the map, right behind that little boat with the black pearls. You can run this entire thing and there are silica pearls over this entire section. This thing goes forever. You can run it with a creature and it will literally take you like probably 20 minutes to swim to the other side of it. That is why people like this cave so much for silica pearls, because it is just a fantastic location to get a ton of silica pearls really fast. Because the other, as long as you take an anglerfish and run this cave and you will have more than you could ever need. So definitely check that out. Now, if you need more black pearls than what was right over there, the best place to get black pearls is to go to the bottom of the ocean. Now, the bottom of the ocean, what you're looking for specifically is they have a little bit of glow to them now. But see how I'm kind of like in this giant like open floor right now? Usually if you go to any like super deep part of the ocean, see where I'm like heading down there now. If you find like rib cages and stuff, inside of rib cages, for some reason, they always have black pearls. So there are a ton of rib cages in the bottom of this ocean. So you can definitely go ahead and pick them. Now you can see some of the dangerous creatures right there. So you will want to be careful because they do have the ability to pick you off your mounts. But that is where you can get black pearls, silica pearls, and then biotoxin will be down there as well. Now, next up on our list is going to be cementing paste. Cementing paste is actually incredibly easy to gather over on Ragnarok. And we're going to head towards what's called beaver lakes or beaver zones. And what you're looking for is this region right beneath me right now. You will see giant beaver dams right over here. Pretty easy to access these giant beaver dams because beavers are all over the place here. And then if you go in the water, you will find a ton of small beaver dams as well, which is obviously a super useful thing. And yeah, you can find them all over the place, both on this layer and the next layer up. You will have enough paste using Ragnarok. Just get like a teleporter or something like that over here to get yourself a ton of cementing paste. Now, I will say on all servers, this is a highly contested area because everyone needs free cementing paste. So keep that in mind. Now, next on our list is going to be charcoal, which actually, unlike most other maps, is directly harvestable over on Ragnarok. You can go ahead and take a chainsaw and go over to these charred fields that you see me at right now, and you'll be able to harvest these redwood. Now, I say redwood for a reason. Redwood trees. Now, you can use a chainsaw and get pretty significant amounts of wood and charcoal out of these using a wyvern's sea attack is also another great way to get a ton of charcoal out of them. But you can get wood and charcoal as long as you are smacking these trees. Now, obviously, you can see that you're probably going to be better off just taking a regular tree and then making it into charcoal, but you can do a dual option here by getting both the charcoal from the tree as well as the wood from these trees as well. So definitely utilize that as a quick and easy way to get a ton of charcoal. Now, next on our list, right now, this one is going to be a little different because chitin is the same thing as keratin, and chitin is easy to be gotten on Ragnarok. You're going to do the exact same thing that I'm doing right now with a chainsaw in my hand, and you are going to come up to the northeastern corner of the map. On the northeastern corner, you will find access to this giant island. Now, if you go up and down the shores of this area, you'll see these kind of whales in the water. These whales can be harvested, and they will provide you with a ton of keratin. Now, for those of you saying, well, it's not chitin, Teach. No, it's not. Technically, you are correct, but you can actually get quite a significant chunk of keratin. Oh, no, it's not going to let me. Really, game? Sometimes this game makes no sense, but whatever. I will look for one more body so I can actually show you. There's about 30 or 40 of these bodies up here, and you can use a chainsaw and harvest a significant amount of keratin out of them, or chitin, because they count as the exact same thing. They're interchangeable, and one of these things is going to give you a stupid amount of resources. Now, as long as we're here, you're noticing you're getting a ton of spoiled meat, you're getting a ton of hide, you're also getting a ton of oil. It is a great way to get resources early, and even mid-game, sometimes late game, if you have a good enough chainsaw, you can get this stuff really, really quickly. So I'm not going to keep chopping away, but you see, obviously it's worth your time to come check this out. So definitely do it. Now, next on our list is going to be clay. Clay can actually be found over in the sandy region or the desert region by picking up sand and getting some stone and then mixing those together. So you won't be able to just get clay straight up on this map, but you can get it. But speaking of, it's going to bring us to what is called Crystal Cave. Now, Crystal Cave is a really neat little cave over in the region that we're heading right now. I'm going to go ahead and pull up my thing again so you can see the chords. And Crystal Cave is directly beneath me here. Now, if you go and sink down into these caverns, you will find a ton of crystal all over the place in here. Now, that can be harvested with an Anki, with a pick, whatever you want it to, and it'll give you a ton of early game crystal. Crystal can also be found, I'm not going to go there, but if you go to the spine right here that I'm kind of hovering along, there's a ton of crystal in that region as well, so you can get a ton of access to it over there. Now, next on our list is one that's a little bit more difficult to locate, but it's certainly doable. So if you go to, and I'm not going to take you all the way there, but if you go over into this region and find the death worms, you're like, what do you mean death worms? So you can actually go in, I'm going to go to the specific exit of the cave, and then you can find the entrance. I've got a video on it if you're really feeling like it. Wow, there it is. I think that's it. Nope, that's not it. Where's the exit? But there are deathworm horns. You can go into the Ice Queen's cave, and the Ice Queen's cave will have a bunch of deathworms. You can harvest them for their deathworm horns. That's more of a description than anything else, and that's kind of just, that is what it is. Electronics, there is no way to get electronics over on this map. You will have to get, you can technically kill tech creatures for them, but that's the only way to get them. Now, element can only be harvested from running the boss, which is a new boss. No one's got a good meta for it yet because it's a really interesting new boss. So you have to run that to get access to your element dust, element shards, those kinds of things. You have to run the boss in order to get that over on this map. So you can do it pretty easy, though. It's not super hard. And yeah, just definitely keep an eye out for once people are doing that, because once they get the strategies down, it's going to be a very useful thing to know. Now, fiber, not going to really go in super far into depth on fiber, because fiber can be harvested literally just by going up to any bush with your hands, using a sickle on pretty much anything. The best way to get it is to go into some of the caves, and then you can get double in there, and that's kind of just how it works. So I would definitely capitalize on that. Now, there is a couple of good areas on this map to get flint, flint and stone, because flint and stone can kind of sometimes be gathered together. What I like to do is I like to go to this region down beneath me right here, and you can see that this is technically a water, right? If you go up and down these little tiny rocks They're not actually rocks that you can pick up all the time. You can pick some of them up, but see that size right there? You can walk and swim quickly up and down this river with an Anki, and you will get a ton of flint and stone. Because none of these rocks are metal, they are all just stone rocks. You can walk up and down this river and get quite a few. Now, if you have a Carcanos, even better. You can use the Carcanos and use like Dino Farm mod or something like that to get a ton of flint and stone in this region. Now, the next up on our list is going to be giant bee honey. Unfortunately, there's not really a super easy way to get it, so you have to go to the giant bee locations on the map, which is going to typically be in the Redwoods Forest. Now, the Redwoods Forest can be found over in the kind of like middle right section of the map. This is where you're going to find most of your bees. You can technically find them in the jungle on the cliffs, but this is kind of my preferred place to locate the giant bees, is to go to this region, but it doesn't always work like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and set the time of day here. Let's go ahead and set it to 12. All right, so this is the best way to get giant bee hive or honey over here. Now, hide, we talked about it earlier, right? You can either go and just kill regular creatures or hit those. If you go to that upper right corner in the highlands, you will be able to get access to those dead basilos, and those dead basilos will give you a crap ton of hide and keratin, which is technically next up on our list. And that's just the best way to do that in general. So yeah, not too bad. Now, there are 3 locations that you can get access to metal on this map. I would call it the second best is by running the spine right here. I call it the spine because it's literally a giant elevated mountain range that runs between the actual desert zone and the redwood zone. Now, basically what you're going to do is you can see it's all over the place down there. Do not go left or right. Just stay on the top of this mountain range and you will get a ton of metal. The reason it's the second best, even though it's got the most metal in the map, is because you have to travel quite a distance in order to actually harvest all of this metal. It's a little bit of a pain in the butt to get all of the metal. So this is why it's a little bit more frustrating, just because you have to go up and down the spine, and it takes a little bit of time and can be pretty frustrating sometimes in order to run the whole thing. So can definitely run it, but it can be a little bit of a pain in the butt to actually complete this process. So yeah, up to you if you want to run that one. So that is the second best. The best metal location, in my personal opinion, is going to be Metal Mountain. Metal Mountain can be found by going to the desert. There's only one mountain. It's pretty big and it looks like a metal rock. Voila. This guy right here, you can circle the outside, get a decent amount of metal, but you can also go inside this chamber, and this chamber will have a ton, including outside the chamber, of metal nodes. Now, all of them inside the chamber, just so you can see what I'm talking about in here. I've harvested quite a few of them, but there's still a ton of metal in here. You can see, there you go, right there, a lot of metal. And then you can kind of roll the entire area in here for a ton of metal, ton of crystal, and there's a couple obsidian rocks in there as well. But this entire mountain will give you a crap ton of metal, so you can kind of harvest this region for a high cluster zone. So can utilize that for sure. Now, a little bit of a secret metal farming spot is if you go to the underground cave over near Blue Ob over in Vikings Bay. There's what used to be called Swamp Cave, but I guess now you would call it Aberration Cave, because they've kind of added it to the aberration list, where you've got Carcanos and some other things like that. And they will give you access to a ton of metal if you just go into that region. Now, it can be found. I'm not going to ruin too much of the surprise for you, because I want you to learn a little bit here. You can go into this right here, this cave entrance, and at the cords, and you just go into that cave and you'll get a ton of metal all over the place. It just sits. So you can definitely take that as whatever you want. Now, next on our list is going to be obsidian. Obsidian is very easy to get on this map. You can go to top of all of the mountains in order to find a good chunk of obsidian. It's pretty much sitting. It's just giant black rocks. Or if you really want to, you can go to the charred zone on top of the mountains, and in most of the areas we'll have access to a good amount of crystal and obsidian. You just kind of got to look around a little bit, because it's harder to spot in this region because of the darkened ground. And yeah, but it is all over the place here. You can see that there's some on the ground right there. So now, next on our list was oil. If you're not feeling like hitting the actual basilosaurs, you can actually go down to the canyon. And the canyon actually has a few oil rig locations where you can slap down an oil rig and get a pretty good chunk of oil. Now, I will have to find these. I don't remember where all of this is. One of them, or is this water? think that's water. Yeah, that's water. But it looks like that. But if you go down this canyon, you can find little circles just like that with a little oil rock on top. I'm looking for one. Is these them? Nope, that's not them. It looks like that, but obviously that's not it. But they are in this canyon. I'm wishing I could find one, but I promise if you look for like 2 or 3 minutes, you'll find a bunch of them. There's like 10 or 15 spots that you can actually harvest oil in this canyon, but I'm just being dumb apparently, and I cannot find them to save my life. But they are here. Don't know where they are right now, but they are here. I'm hoping that there's like one in this corner for some reason, but there's not obviously right now. But there are oil rig locations that you can slap down here. If not, you can go to the bottom of the ocean and there's a ton of oil there as well. Now, next on our list is going to be something that is actually brand new to this map. And we're going to have to head, in order to get to this, over to the green ob corner. And we're going to have to go into the wyvern scar, because you can actually harvest organic polymer and polymer from the wyvern scar on this map. Now, in order to do it, you're going to have to go into the wyvern canyon, which can be found over here. And inside of this new aberrant based wyvern canyon, you'll have the polymer plants. These are best harvested with a bear or a sickle, but you can get them by hand and get a ton of polymer and organic polymer, just a crap ton of it. So yeah, I would definitely recommend that. Now, next on our list is going to be rare mushrooms and rare flowers. The best way, in my opinion, to get them is to just get beaver dams, because getting beaver dams will give you rare mushrooms and rare flowers over time. You never need too many of them, but if you do need a bunch of them, rare mushrooms can be gathered from hitting trees inside of the swampy biomes, and rare mushrooms or rare flowers can also be gathered from that way as well. So it's not super common, but like the plants over there, they look like rare flowers. Kind of hard to miss them. Now, meat runs, just go wherever you want, wherever you're comfortable. Rag has a ton of creatures, so you shouldn't be super concerned about any of that. Now, sap is kind of unique over on Ab as well, because you've got these giant trees. Giant trees, you just slap down a sap tap, and that's how you can get access to a good chunk of those. Now, it used to have some Joshua trees, but unfortunately it looks like they removed the ability to actually harvest it. So now you've kind of just got to go over to the large trees and put a sap tap in, and that's the best way to get it. Now, unfortunately, they didn't really add a lot of the actual sappable trees here. I'll see if I can find one. I don't think they updated it. No, they didn't. So yeah, but you can get cactus sap over here. I kind of forgot to mention that one earlier. Cactus sap can be gathered with a chainsaw and just smacking the cactus looking trees, and you'll get a very, very good chunk of cactus sap. Now, if you can find the furry cactuses here, the furry cactuses will actually give you access to, what's it called? Not sap, but cactus sap, but regular sap. Just so you can see those. We talked about silica pearls earlier. And then next on the list is going to be silk. Silk can be gathered over in the Highlands area, and the Highlands area is in the upper right corner of the screen. And that Highlands area is going to give you purple-ish looking flowers, and those purple-ish looking flowers are going to give you silk. I'd recommend using a whip, a Therizino, or something like that, but that is how you quickly get access to, I don't see them right here. Usually you can find not these purple flowers, just to be clear. They are little purple viney looking flowers that are on the ground. Now, not those. I will spot some here in a second, and then I will make myself look less crazy, because you guys are like, they're purple flowers and they're right there. Not these, not those. They look like little vines. I might have to go closer to the water to find them, I guess, because I don't see any over here. Let's go closer to the water over here. I know there's some over here. And any luck? There we go. There's some. Nope, that's not some. And Ark likes to mess with me when I'm looking for things. All right, so just to describe them in case I can't find them right now, is they are purple flowers and they look like vines. They are not straight up purple plants or purple bushes. They are purple vines, and those purple vines are on the ground, and I swear they exist. There they are. All right, so you see, I hope I didn't just kill him with that drop. I think I did. No, I didn't. Okay, so see these things? They're like purple flowers. Those are what give you silk, so that's how you get silk on this map. Now, spoiled meat, that's next on the alphabetical list. That area over there with the basilos is a good way to do it. We talked about stone. Sulfur can be gathered from the Wyvern Canyon by killing wyverns, I believe. And then sulfur also should exist in some small areas in the actual scorched zone. Thatch, hit a tree. Pretty easy to get a ton of access to thatch. And then I'll mention that wood, the best way to get wood on this map is to hit any of these small redwoods looking trees, because they are going to give you access to, I guess it's like triple wood technically compared to a normal tree. And you can see me swinging away on this one right now. If I sit here, if I really wanted to, I can take this chainsaw and practically run it dry and basically just wear a tech suit and just run up to any of these redwood trees, and you'll have so much wood on this map that you're never going to need a wood run again. So yeah, this is the best way to get wood. You can just sit here in a tech suit, or if you have a ton of weight, you can kind of just do what I'm doing right now and just use a chainsaw. I would use a chainsaw more than anything else because it's going to give you a lot more wood than any tame will. So definitely utilize this method, just a chainsaw. So anyways, that should be all the resources that you need to know, but hopefully this video helps you out. And other than that, teach out.